So after Professor Darrell, maybe I can request Dr. Afsana to get ready so that we can have your presentation.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I am just going to go for because it can be as long as possible, but I just want to do it here. Let me start the actual what my topic is. This is my name is Tulsi Dharel, and thank you so much for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and insights. Especially, I am talking about the marketing, and I don't know how many of the audience and in the forum are interested in marketing. You might have a different discipline, but my point is, I just want to share with you all what is marketing and how the marketing would be in the future. So, as you have seen, the marketing is so dynamic. Before than that, I am in Canada. I teach at Centennial College. My history comes from Al Kumari about 30 years
Recording
ago. I
inside.
was a faculty member. I was one of the pioneer and the founding persons of this particular, my beloved college called Bal Kumari College. I started my teaching career from there. I'm here in Canada for the last 25 plus years and teaching marketing. And I just want to share because my capacity, I want to share with you all. I am a marketing faculty member. I'm a charter marketer. I am the council board, talent council board member of Canadian Marketing Association. I'm the founder of Nepalese Marketing Association as well, where I serve as an international advisor. And then also I am a lifetime honorary member of Nepalese Marketing Association. So this is my contribution towards to marketing areas in Canada and Nepal. So that's the general information about me. And more than that, if somebody is interested to know about me, you can just type my name in the Google or AI or anywhere. These days, people cannot hide their information and themselves. It is too popular and too, it's like a public. I mean, so that is just a general part. And I'm not going to go for those lot of things that marketing these days is changing rapidly in Bangladesh, in India, in Nepal, and Western world for sure. A lot of AI technology has been adopted and a lot of online and e-marketing and digital marketing. These are the things has been so much advanced in every part of the world. So that is for sure in Nepal also. Whenever I visit to Nepal, I see a lot of new marketing tools and techniques have been used in Nepalese marketing system as well. Marketing is not only buying and selling. Marketing is actually even the Balkumar College is doing marketing, conducting with this type of international conference. Those emails is part of the marketing. So those part is for sure. I will how this e-commerce has been moving towards the directions in the different directions. You can imagine for trillions of dollar businesses that are doing business by this type of e-commerce or digital marketing. These are all the slides. I just want to tell you how it has been working and how it has been influenced by all over the world. By the way, as you have seen, the richest person in the world are all from the tech giant. You know that part. That means these people, their job, they are doing much more better marketing than the traditional marketing. Tesla has changed the whole entire the auto industry. Tesla, it's Elon Musk, the richest person in the world. And Amazon is Jeff Bezos. This guy has done the same as like us, almost like a 20 years history of that companies, those companies, 20 years histories. By 20 years, you can imagine I was teaching 20 years ago. I am teaching still now. I'm going to retire from the same positions for sure. But whereas these guys they started 20 years ago, now they are trying to go to the moon. The moon is already there, and then they are going to the Mars, as you know. The Mars means X space. This is why how much the marketing is more focused on the AI technology or innovations and all those new effective those type of tools have been used. These are the things that I just want to tell you something. That's what I was trying to make this slide for, actually for my 1 hour session, but I now I hear that I'm getting only 10 minutes. That's why I'm reducing this part, and I'm gonna focus on these areas only. And let me tell you some of the things that the global marketing is moving towards a very different direction these days. Eco-friendly product is no matter Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, everywhere you don't see a lot of plastic has been used by those retailer and business people, because the people are concerned about eco. That's the reason you have seen mostly the product is a organic product. You know, you have seen that organic things is very, very popular things, and eco-friendly, and save the environment, save the planet, save the tree. These are the things every human being is concerned about that. That's why the marketing is towards going to that direction, rather than previously you have seen so much wasted and so much landfill, so much pollutions because of the marketing. It was done before. Now, everywhere. I hear that in Bangladesh, the plastic is totally banned. I'm not sure that maybe the other person might gonna go for that. In India also, like India is so crowded country in the world, but the India is trying their best to protect their environment. So marketing is moving towards to that directions, and people are much more concerned to get the natural direct from the nature rather than refining things. So that is a marketing tools. And then the people are much more focused on specialized, most focused on personalized, most focused on customize. You know, those are the things that mostly the luxury brands, luxury product, they are much more concerned with a particular every individual to make those type of product. And that is a very, very concern. And the healthy product, mostly diet product, not the junk food. Junk food is considered. I know in India, Nepal, and China, I mean, in Bangladesh, I have seen the McDonald is booming, but whereas in McDonald in North America, McDonald is not considered a really good food type of product. When you don't have any option, then only you go to McDonald rather than uh, just eating those that they are called junk food, and those are considered, that scientists have said that is a very, very unhealthy product. So those type of products market has been gone down, and whereas the product is going up, those naturally more healthier product, those type of product, and people are much more concerned about the health supplementary type of product as well. And AI is replacing everywhere in the teaching technology, and in all those major manufacturing technology, and everywhere AI is doing great things. So everyone must focus on that. If you are behind, you are gone. If the company is not doing online shopping and they are just focusing on traditional shopping, then that company is gone. You might know a long time ago there was a company called BlackBerry, which is a Canada-based BlackBerry. That BlackBerry is gone. Now, iPhone has taken the market overall, almost Samsung and iPhone type, because the innovations should not be stopped. Research and development should be every aspect. Major part of your resources must be used to your innovative activities, no matter it is college, is a profit-making institution or not-for-profit institutions. That is important. The trend is that I want to tell you, uncertain economic environment. The global economic environment is very, very uncertain due to so many climate changing, so many unusual things is happening all over the world, shifting towards from the west to the east. Asian country, America and European country was capturing bigger markets here, whereas now India and China are the countries are taking more advancement on that case. That is why it is. And in every country, every company, digitalization, you cannot stop this part. It has to be done. And because of the globalizations, no one can say that this market is safe. This market is only my market. No, even a small part of the village, a small part of the country, even the mountain in Nepalese mountain, you have seen so many globalizations that example of globalizations. And companies are much more forced. They have a two options, whether they voluntarily they accept it. If not, then by force they must focus on corporate social responsibilities. Every single associations must focus on corporate social responsibility. And then there are a couple of examples in India. I hear that Tata has a very good reputation. Their brand image is very high. It's not only because their quality of the product is really high quality. It is because the company have been giving a big amount of their resources to the corporate to the public, which is part of their getting returning back to the support and sympathy and appreciations from the community, from the government. That is corporate social responsibility. It is a very, very important. And that company, that no matter even the Balkumari College or any university college, anyone, or the big profit-making organizations, they must put in their mind that corporate social responsibility is very, very important to improve, to promote, to gain more profit of your own organizations. One time, I don't know how many of you know this person. He is considered like a father of marketing. He had said that one time he said that the brand is so important. And these days, when you have a trust on your brand, you don't evaluate, you don't judge, you feel comfortable to having those product. To these days, even he was saying that people would buy car online. They don't have to go to showroom. If they know the brand, if they are much more confident about the brand, they don't have to look it. So this is why every single person, every single company, every single activities must have to have a good recognition. The recognition is a brand. Recognition, brand is an image. Brand is your personality. Brand is your presentations. That has to be. That's the reason it says marketing is unlimited. It is more competitive than more selective. And as you see, everything, if you want to get it to market, there might be so many varieties. But why people are selecting one particular varieties than the many varieties? Because that variety has a huge image and trust, and the trust is a brand. So this is why it is important. That is not only the company, the country images matter. Bangladesh, China, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Afghanistan. If we close our mind and then we think about those countries, we have something, we have some perceptions is coming towards those particular country, particular city. That image has to be positive. That image has to be top. So that is also in the market in the coming days. People are concerned where this product is coming from. If it is coming from Switzerland, if it is coming from Japan, if it is coming from some European countries, people closely, they trust that brand. If it is coming from China, it is coming from India, it is coming from Nepal, or South Asian countries, then for sure people rethink about that. People want to reevaluate, recheck it about, because whether they have used a child labor or not, whether they are so concerned about the global environment protections, whether that quality of the product is right or not, whether that product is genuine product or fake product, because you have seen so many fake things there. So this is why the country images matter. Your country's image always matters to you personally. If we are traveling around the world and we are holding a passport, if the passport is Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Afghani, Nepali, then when you cross the border, the immigrations would ask you series of questions. If you are traveling from Japan, Korea, European countries, they don't normally ask any questions because that is the image. So the country image is a matter. And for sure, this is very important for the sincere government, sincere ruler, sincere policymakers. That has to be. Country image takes so long, but the image can be collapsed very soon. That is why it is also part of that. I'm not going to go through all those because I think that it might take so long. And by the way, I just want to tell you about 3 years ago, I during the COVID time, I had chance to live in Nepal for 6 months, and I taught online from Nepal to Canada. And that time, I'm a marketing professional and a part of the Canadian Marketing Associations. I have established in Nepal that's called NMA, Nepalese Marketing Association, and the NMA is their main motto is a brand Nepal. They are trying to make that image, and they are doing a marketing activities in Nepal. And I would suggest those people who are in Nepal who want to be interested, you can connect with them. And finally, I just want to tell you that normally the future, the product is same. You bring a mango, potato, or tomato, or any kind of product in the market, but how you present, that is important. See, if you see these two photographs, actually this is a marketing. The product is same. This lady in the top, you see, maybe she is not doing that much marketing. That's why she's very normal. And but marketing, what they do, they try to attract you. So they changed a little bit about her. And now you see this is marketing, how you present yourself, how you welcome to others, the impression, that is marketing. So finally, I thank you all. And if you have a questions, I will be happy. If not, then thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Tulsidharal, sir. It was really wonderful listening to your presentation. I'm sure uh, because of the paucity of the time, we could not give you. Dharal, sir, maybe just to give a reference, maybe I didn't introduce to this hall here I'm Professor Biju Kumar Thapalia. We had a lot of chat when you were here in Nepal
Oh,
and
how
also
are
when
you,
back in
sir? How are you,
Canada.
sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
I am so
So
delighted. I just saw your voice and your photo was a little familiar, but you didn't put your name.
it's
You
no, that's what I
vice
realized that I thought that
chancellors have.
yeah, I thought that
Oh,
I have in
sir.
my
Thank you,
laptop, so
sir.
it's written. So
Oh,
so it's my
thank you
pleasure
so much,
to
sir.
listen to your presentation. So as always, when the people become great, their simple words also are like it has a lot deep meaning. And I found that same thing today in your
That is
presentation.
that is you. That is you, the great person.
That, of course, we need to learn a lot from you. Thank you for joining us early morning from Canada. I'm sure that it must be very cold now there to wake up early in the morning and to prepare for this particular presentation. Thank you once again for your presentation and your the communication that you have done regarding the future of marketing. हजुर. ಇಲ್ಲ. पछाडि हेरेकै छैन. So at least in this hall, not only online, but we have present here in this hall by our chairman of this particular Balkumari College. He is here with us. Similarly, I think we have principal sir also, because I'm sitting in the front, I don't see who I'm behind. But then there are a lot of important people here assembled to listen to your presentation and to all the online presentation. So this hall is basically booked for online session. We have been having the parallel session, so this hall is for
Sir,
the online. I don't know if
Tapalya,
I can
sir,
see,
thank you so
if you can
much.
see from
And
the camera here.
for
Yes.
namaskar to all my beloved friends and respected persons. Thank you so much for giving me this chance. Thank you. And Tapalya, sir, we will chat later on. I need to talk to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just because we have very limited time, I'll move to second presenter of the session, Dr. Afsana Praveen. If you are ready, I've already given you the access. Yeah. If you can do it in the slideshow, it will be much better. And yeah. Mhm.
Can you hear me? Do
Yes,
you
we
hear
can
me,
hear you.
sir?
Can you?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear
Good
you.
afternoon,
Can
good
you,
morning, and wherever you are
can you,
listening. Yes,
excuse me, excuse me,
yes,
Apsana.
yes,
Can you change it to
yes,
a slideshow presentation? The presentation, can you make it in the, the full screen? It's,
yes. I think yes. It's okay
yeah,
now?
thank you. Better.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, from Bangkok, Bangladesh, and in Nepal, I think also afternoon, and good morning in Canada. So I'm Dr. Afshana Parvin from Bangladesh, and maintaining on all the protocol, I'm directly going to the presentation. Today, I'm just going to give an information about some of my research findings that I have taken with my students to understand the Haor and Beel ecology ecosystem services and livelihoods in the agrarian community of Bangladesh, and the in the context of climate change, how their life is leading. So life in wetlands is mostly the how, and it's like a basin-like structure where water remains stagnant and or in a flash flood condition during the months of June to November in Bangladesh, mostly submerged for approximately a year. And the Boro rice, this is the only one crop is growing in during the winter season. Rabi is November to February mostly in our country. So the total area of wetlands in Bangladesh have almost 7 to 8 million hectare and 50% of the land surface of the country. And the Howard area is cropping intensity and crop productivity in the Howard or Bill area. Bill is the like long, not river, but it's like a small stagnant water. So in Bangladesh, are notably lower compared in the national average. So the average cropping intensity in the How region is 104%, but in average national average is 195%. So you can see that the crop production is lower in that region because of the only one cropping season, where 19.4 million people are residing in that area, and the How region produce about 16.5% Bangladesh total rice production. We consume rice as our staple food. Staple food. So rice is our staple food, and how produce 16.5% of Bangladesh total rice production. So you can see in the map that this is the northeast part of Bangladesh. This is the like Haur area, mostly the Sunamganj Sylhet area, and this is the like in the area the my both research works in the both areas. So I have just mentioned these two areas, but we have Beals and Howers in different parts of the country also. So here I tried to discuss the three topics here. How in the how not only the climate change impacts, but also had a lot of development, unplanned developments. So these development process, how changing the wetlands ecosystems and wildlife, then how communities and individuals to adapt these changes, especially the climate change issues and the other issues, cross-cutting issues, and how the Water Act 2013 in Bangladesh, because this is the latest Water Act, is like intervening the matters in these situations, and how does gender affects people's ability to cope with the changes in the Howrah low-lying areas, and what things should be considered later. So livelihoods in wetlands is you can see in these photos that how far you can see is only water and water. But in dry season, there are less amount of water. So the main livelihoods in wetlands is the agriculture and fishing is the main income source. There are 300 plant species, 400 vertebrate species, and 260 freshwater fish species are dependent on wetlands of Bangladesh. So other livelihoods are poultry and livelihoods grazing. So you can see that they have poultry, they have ducks, they're raising there, and the bird hunting. When it's a wetland area, so there are birds, and lot of winter time there are a lot of birds are coming from the Siberia and other parts of the cold countries. So there is one profession also, they are poaching the birds, they are hunting the birds and selling to the locals, though it's illegal in our country. Then waterway transportations, you can see here that these peoples are going somewhere from one part to another parts of the house. House this is surrounded by there are lots of inhabitants. So you can see that transportation is one of the main business in that area when water is available or even even the dry season, and honey collecting. So you can see the people here, they are in the Howrah area, they have lot of master seed plants during the winter season, November, December. Now in Bangladesh, you can see that in Howrah area, wetlands area, a lot of mustard field with yellow flowers. So they are the people for the whole year, they raise the bees by feeding them the sugar. And this time the bees will go to the field and they will collect the honey. And this is the honey business, honey collecting business, also very good business for the house wetland people. And tourism is it's as a recreational business. So during this rainy season, during the flood seasons, when they have high water in the wetlands area, they have the tourism business, but not ecotourism business, tourism business and recreational business, and these are the main professions for the wetlands in the country. So what are the vulnerabilities in wetlands? Though we can see that my study found that this area is vulnerable due to the adverse impacts of climate and development issues. So increase of aquatic weeds when they have less water flow, the water hyacinth growing, water lily is growing, and lotus is growing inside the bill area. Water level decrease during the dry season due to the many anthropogenic factors, siltation, sedimentations, and water level decrease also there. Insufficient number of brush shelters. Brush shelters mean they have the like sanctuary. They hold the fish over there for as their breeding ground, and so that they grow there, and they can collect the fish later. So, but they have the less brush shelters over there as as the wetlands plants are dying there, and the wetlands forest are destroying over there for their woods, for their fiber. So they just losing the trees, and the water body is under sanctuary, but occurring of undesirable poaching of fish during that season. So as they don't have the brush shelter, so poaching of fish is very easy over there. That's reducing the breeding and spawning ground of parent fish. The fishermen in that area, normally the rules in Bangladesh is that whoever has the water can harvest the fish. But the thing is that the fishermen report that commercial farming people from outside, they are taking the lease in the name of local fishermen, but harvest the fish throughout the year. But the real dweller, so the real owner, has less access. So a conflict of land ownership is very prominent over there. But due to the impacts of climate change, there is a flash floods, heavy rain in Meghalaya regions, heavy like snow melting in Himalaya, and our rivers and our bills are like overflowed, and so like they have the very frequent floods and flash floods. They have river erosions, and they have like lack of lack of professions in that area. So they have as they have lack of work opportunities, so they move from one place to another for their life and livelihoods. So this is the vulnerabilities in wetlands. And climate change versus development, which is like giving them more worse situations. The people, particularly the poor living in the Howrah and floodplain areas, dependent on the wetlands for their life and livelihoods. But water body loss due to the development activities in the Howrah area. Now, recent activities that the then government has on road inside the Howrah areas, inside the, I mean, the water body areas, the long. So it hampered the growth of the plants. It hampers the growth of the fishes, and it increased the weeds, aquatic weeds in that area. So like wildlife, flora and fauna has severely hampered due to the imbalanced development and biased or no environmental impact assessment. And many wetlands have depleted, and significant amount of swamp filling in metropolitan areas. So the commercial infrastructure poses a threat to the continued existence in these areas. And Sundarbans are shrinking due to the size. Tourism is on the size in Tanguar and other wetland areas. It's not ecotourism. They are throwing the plastics, so plastic pollutions are higher there. They have no sense of like balanced tourism, or like they are not concerning the wetlands. So the soil and water contamination is very high over there. So these factors are collectively contributing to the degradation of soil and water quality in the hard areas. So legal framework of wetland management in that area. So there are legal framework, but there are few conflicts because the ownership water does not like the people. The state is the owner of the water, but no individual has no right. But the thing is that the individuals are taking the lease and occurring occurring their activities in that area illegally. But some gaps in wetland management, we can say that existing policy, you can say that they are not talking about the drinking water, but in the wetland areas, drinking water is one of the main problems. There are a lot of water, but the water quality and the drinking water scarcity is severe over there. And there are a lot of institutions, but which institution has which work, it's not clear in the policies. And these are the conflicts between the the Natural Disaster Management Act and the Water Act in 2013. So how the man is going to outside for their livelihoods, but how women is helping in that area, in wetland areas, when they have the adverse environmental scenario, and when they have no work, how women activities help the households to participate in income generation activities. So we can say that gender consideration and participation of women in the wetland management area has not been considered much, but women works in that area. Increasing involvement of rural women through NGOs and their own initiatives in project planning activities is much needed in that area. But what's happened, rural women in resource enhancement and rehabilitation activities, they do in homestead gardening. They do, like for example, when they have like households and they have small amount of lands, they do this. They sell the seedlings. They have the like small plants. Homestead gardening means they have some chili plants, some bottle gourd plants, some bitter gourd plants, and they're maintaining the household nutrition in that way. In other hand, they have like some kind of we can say mitigation measures on their own. Adaptation measures, we can't say mitigation, adaptation measures. What they do, they have like for example, in each meal they have like for example, they need 200-gram rice to eat a meal. So what they do, from these 200 grams, there may be 10 grams that separate away and keep it in another pot. So at the end of the month, they can use that rice for 1 or 2 days extra. And so positively participations of women by conservation training programs, considering participation in the project implementation management activities, help them in adaptations. So we can see here that this women is rearing the cow, and and feeding the cow as an adaptation plan of herself. And here is the cow dung. So you can see that they are drying the cow dungs for their fuels. For their fuels, they use it as fuels for cooking, and they are doing the sustain act. They locally led initiatives, women and men both are working together. So sustainable fisheries management, duck and ducklings rearing. So they are like rearing ducks, hens in their homes. And in that area, if it's very popular, that you can see that one people has like 5,000 to 6,000 ducks. They are rearing, they're selling the duck eggs, they're selling the ducks, and this is a very popular business in that area. But the problem is this is very harmful for the nature, because for the duck, they're collecting the apple snail, and snail is important for the nature. So they're destroying the nature as well. So for this area, they are harvesting the rainwater, using large aquatic weeds for their alternative foods like like lotus they are eating as an alternative foods. Restoring freshwater swamp projects, helping them to protect the village embankments, and using
Dr.
solar panel.
Afsana,
Yes, how many minutes
Dr.
I have?
Afsana, yeah,
Yes, yes.
uh, please try to finish it up within the next 1 minute.
Yeah, for sure. So these are the government initiatives we have in the wetland areas. And gaps and tourist sustainable community failure to fulfill the SDGs, as the government has the initiatives to reduce the poverties, reduce joblessness, and like other activities. So food security, poverty reductions, and improve livelihoods for the inhabitants in the hard areas is like really in challenging situations in the current scenarios. So the Water Act and the Fish Act in 90 is very old in our country, so it's conflicting. So there are severely requires that, like, there's some kind of balancing or like guidelines to non-point water pollution source like fertilizer and pesticide uses in that area. So these are the few recommendations we have made from our research findings. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do, or if no, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Afsana, for your wonderful presentation on the topic that you have chosen. It is very, very apt because the wetland issues are also very much in Nepal. We do have a lot of researchers working in this area. I'm sure that if you find some of the researchers here who can collaborate with you to work to understand this wetland issues, maybe these are a little bit different, but still we are in the same area,
Thank
research
you,
area.
Professor. Thank you,
Uh,
Professor. We look forward for
Thank you very much
collaboration
for
too.
your wonderful. Uh, uh, do we have any questions from the audience here? No. Okay. Fine. Thank you, Afsana, for your presentation. May I now request Jiten Kumar to be ready for your presentation?
Hi. Yeah, sure. Let me try to share my slides here. Right, is it visible?
Yes, yeah, it's coming now. Yes, you will have also 10 minutes for your presentation, Jiten.
Thank you. Can you tell me if it's in full screen or is it in presenter view? Is it full
Pardon?
screen? Is it full screen already?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Start
Okay,
now.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you to the organizers for inviting me to the International Conference on Inclusive and Sustainable Development, Transformation, Innovation, and Digitalization. Good evening from Bangkok. My name is Jiten Kumar, and I am currently a research associate in the Disaster Preparedness Mitigation and Management Program in AIT, Asian Institute of Technology. Today I'll be presenting a little bit about my research regarding compound flood risk assessment and what their systemic impacts are. So the case study of this analysis of this research was conducted in a coastal city in Indonesia, which is where I'm from, where I've been practicing in disaster management and climate resilience for about 6 to 8 years. Yes, I'm very glad to present a little bit about this today. So a little bit of background, perhaps to introduce the study area and the context of the study. So as some of you may know, Indonesian coastal areas, Indonesia has a lot of islands, and the coastal areas are prone to various types of natural hazards, from coastal erosion, storms, floods, and even tsunamis. And Semarang City, which is the study area of this research, they regularly face riverine and coastal floods in the low-lying and hilly topography, so potentially causing compound floods. So compound floods here are considered as riverine floods, which are occurring at the same time in the same area as compound floods. As tidal floods. So tidal floods are occurring due to fluctuations in the tidal activity that are happening along the coastline. So compound floods in the city mostly hit the coastal areas. And also this becomes worse due to climate change and anthropogenic pressures, and without action, it can result in long-term injuries and also losses. So the aim of this study was to conduct a systemic risk assessment of Semarang coastal system from compound flood risk. So we're trying to extend a little bit more from what is a conventional method of risk assessment into something that looks into deeper connections. So this is the study area, as you can see here. And so as I mentioned before, the city itself is a complex coastal system that faces river and coastal floods. And the study aims to identify the different cascading impacts across the sectors and the subsystems within the city. So this is what the systemic risk assessment is trying to identify. And why the study is needed, because currently there is still a gap in risk assessment, especially conducted in the study area, which focuses only on single hazards. So floods only, landslides only, for example. And the framework that was developed under this research considers systemic risk as part of a multi-approach framework. So we're looking at multiple hazards and not only singular impacts, but the type of different impact chains that can result from this particular thing. And then finally, to identify the progression of cascades and escalation points. So we see the combination of the hazards, how they can escalate, how they can have multiple impacts, so on and so forth. And this is addressed through the systemic risk assessment framework that was developed within this study, which includes a multi-hazard risk assessment that is GIS-based. We implement the system dynamics analysis and also analysis of cascading impacts. Just briefly about the methodology here. So the methodology incorporates the multi-hazard risk assessment, which is kind of like a more conventional, academically accepted, even kind of accepted even by practitioners who are practicing within this field, and then incorporating that with a kind of like a systems thinking mindset using kind of systems dynamics principles. The research objectives are 4, but my presentation today focuses on number 3 and 4 to investigate the systemic impacts of compound floods and to analyze the cascading impacts in the Semarang coastal system. So before we begin multi-hazard risk assessment, we have to first identify the indicators that we want to use. So the indicators were identified through a systematic literature review process, which I'm not going to get into today. What I can report is that that process resulted in 20 indicators that were used to denote exposure, vulnerability, hazard, and capacity. So these are the primary indicators when we are assessing risk. And they were selected based on potential data availability within the city. After they were selected, we weighted them to see which indicators had kind of the more effect on risk. And this was conducted by doing interviews and primary data collection from stakeholders in the city to denote the weights that we are going to use. And then finally, we're going the weights go into the GIS analysis, the indicators as well, to generate composite maps of compound flood risk in Semarang City. So these were the indicators that were used. Finally, these were the results of the systematic literature process, and then eventually were inserted into the GIS analysis to assess flood risk. So I'm not going to go into detail into all of the aspects of the risk. I think for today's presentation is only apt to talk about the hazard, especially the compound floods. So these were the indicators that were used. Land subsidence, the city was known to have land subsidence, sea level rise, tidal activity, which this is a proxy indicator for the coastal flood itself, the rainfall that occur in the area, and also the riverine flood inundation area. So these were the data sources. Most of them were using open source kind of remote sensing data, radar data that were analyzed to identify the flood inundation extent. Now, please note that this, the flood height and kind of the flood severity and the magnitude were not analyzed because the data were not available. So the research was only able to identify the flood extent. And the mapping results here show, so this is the coastal area, which you are seeing here, and the 3 red lines denote where compound floods where coastal floods and riverine floods meet to create compound floods. So these are denoted as very kind of risky areas, as we can say, for compound floods. And several important facilities are located actually along this area, including, like, for example, airports, commercial centers, and even ports. So this was the final risk map that was developed based on the analysis. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to go into detail, but the risk methodology that I used produced this map, which ultimately denoted the risky areas. So as you can see, no areas is particularly high risk, perhaps thanks to the capacity and also thanks to the kind of mitigation activities that are done in the city. But as you can see, the coastal areas are concerned because moderately the risk of compound floods occur mostly in that area as well. So moving on to the systems dynamics model, which was incorporated. So the purpose of the model was to kind of conceptualize it in a systems thinking manner to identify the kind of like the risk drivers. What were the indicators that drive this risk and how they kind of work with each other to escalate or de-escalate the risk. And thanks to the interviews that were conducted with the stakeholders, this was the qualitative kind of mapping of the indicators that were used to then create a quantitative model, a quantitative systems dynamics model. So I'm not going to go into detail here because it looks a little bit tricky, but I'm just going to highlight the key indicators that we're going to focus on. So from risk, hazard, exposure, capacity, flood area, the effect of people, flood-related losses, and also the cost of water pumps. And moving forward, so this is the quantitative model that was eventually used. Again, I'm not going to go into more detail here. I'm just going to highlight the kind of like the key indicators that we're going to focus on, that I'm going to report in the next minute or two, hopefully. Yeah, so before the systems dynamics model can be run and the kind of results can be accepted, I just did a quick validation of the model where we test the model structure, and we kind of use the model results and compare it with observed empirical data. So the systems dynamics model created what is called the baseline scenario of risk and the four main indicators here: exposure, vulnerability, hazard, and capacity. So as you can see here, the x-axis here denote the number of years. So we're trying to project in the next 20 years what will be the risk level of the city due to this hazard. And as you can see here, the yellow line here shows that exposure will continue to increase. This is thanks to population growth and, of course, land use changes. And the level of hazard also will increase because of climate change and also driven by the land subsidence in the city. So to know how we can address this using different policy methods that are available, a policy analysis was conducted using the model where we tested three additional scenarios. The one is called the gray scenario, where we implement more engineering solutions to counter floods. The second one is the green scenario, which uses more nature-based solutions to counter kind of like or mitigate the compound floods, and hybrid solutions, where we incorporate both gray and green in order to kind of mitigate future flood risk. And this is the result here, as you can see. So in terms of risk in the next 20 years, the results show that the green engineering is actually the most effective, because as it enters the 19th and 20th year, we can actually see the risk decrease. So where the other options see risk stabilize, the green engineering was the only kind of option or the only policy scenario where the risk was actually decreasing. And this is the results for the coastal flooded area and the river flood area. So the unit of this is kilometers square. And also, as you can see, the green engineering will eventually lead to a decrease in the river flood area and also the coastal flood area. And for losses due to inundation and also the cost of building damage, the results are quite consistent as well, where the gray engineering works for the short term, building more dikes, building more water pumps. They work in the short term. They work to mitigate floods, but then in the longer term, they reduce ineffectiveness and actually increase risk. So in that kind of mindset, the green engineering actually provides more long-term stability and long-term decrease of risk. And from the results of that, this kind of mapping of cascading impacts was able to be generated. This is just to kind of denote what are the impacts and how they can lead to other impacts or lead to other hazards due to the initial shock, which is the compound flood. So compound floods can, of course, cause damage to buildings. They can inundate land. And then furthermore, they can also create material losses, displacement, transportation delays. As I mentioned, the airport and ports are located in the coastal areas. They can lead to electricity shutdown. And then eventually, at the third level here, at the most right, they can disrupt access to clean water, lead to losses in productivity, and even infrastructure shutdown, which has happened before in the city. So just to conclude, I hope I'm still within the time limit. So the research proved that the compound floods do occur in the city, affecting its northern territories mostly, in the coastal settlement. And they occur due to natural and anthropogenic factors, but risk rises mostly due to anthropogenic pressures, which are caused by humans. So it's not kind of the research shows that it is not enough that we can kind of blame climate change or even the hazards, rainfall, etc., for the rising risk, but we must also look at the human behaviors that are causing this risk to escalate. And then under the current business as usual approach, the flood mitigation measures are kind of evaluated not to be as effective. They bear large costs, so other approaches must also be considered. So as I mentioned, there were 3 policy scenarios that were simulated by the model, and the results showed that the green or the NBS measures were effective. The hybrid was also effective, while the gray engineering, which focuses mostly on structural, physical infrastructure, they effective in the short term, but then they dwindle over time. And the effects of the flood were felt across sectors, as seen in the diagram that I showed you. So several policy recommendations, nature-based solutions, hybrid solutions are effective to reduce the overall risk. However, the nature-based solutions can be also expanded to other type of measures. So reforestation, adding more water bodies, retention ponds, and also gray engineering remains an easy short-term fix. So it is viable, it is important in the short term, but for the long term, perhaps more focus can be afforded to the green kind of options. And yeah, that's all that I can share. Thank you so much for your time. If there's any questions, just please let me know. Thank you. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. Thought my connection is the host still here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, hello, everyone. There was a power cut, so we were out of the session. So now we are back. Thank you, Jitin, once again, for your presentation. Wonderful.
Dear professor, one thing, I don't know how I become host now.
You are a host now? Okay, yeah, maybe
Yes.
because we were disconnected, so you were co-host.
Okay,
So
okay.
it went to. Can you share it
Okay.
to me can you make me co-host now?
I don't know how to do that.
Uh, what you do is that take my in this you will see the Balkumari College, and then
Yes.
and
Make
where
host.
you
Yeah,
see
I
and
make
then
you host. Yes, yes.
yes, thank you. Okay, now I'm the host. Thank you very much. I got the charge of my ship now. Okay, thank you. Jitin, I would like to say that, it's a wonderful paper that you had done, wonderful work that you have done. Basically, the sustainability that we are looking for in this international conference, the discussion on that. And I think you have presented in one of your solution in the form of natural-based solution. So maybe that's the long term to go about by all the society in everywhere in the society in each and every problem, including Afsana's that she had presented. So thank you very much once again. I think we should move forward to our next presenter. I'll just take the name if a presenter are here. Do we have Niharika Singh with us? Okay, we don't
Bhavika
have.
is
Do we have?
here. I'm sorry to intervene. Bhavika is here, if you allow me.
Okay, so Bhavika, you will be presenting now then?
It would be fine if you allow me.
Yes, yeah, definitely. We like to have you do the presentation now.
Thank you.
Can you share your presentation? Let me see.
Okay, actually, I'm going to be with.
I'm making you a co-host, so now you should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yes. The next, maybe be prepared for it. That is, if we have Sikandar from Pakistan, if you are here, so be ready for your next presentation. You will do the next one. Bhavika, will it be possible for you to open your camera?
Yes.
Because, yeah, if it's
Just
okay. Fine. Yes, Bhavika Patel, please introduce yourself and do start the presentation. And you know that we have 10 minutes time for each presenter.
thank you. Sure. This is Patel Bhavika from India, from Gujarat, Vallabh Vidyanagar. I work as an assistant professor in G.H. Patel College of Engineering since 22 years. And recently I completed my last degree from Austria online. I'm going to present my research paper. The title, you can see that the digital age's impact on language and literature, examining the shifts in production, accessibility, and interaction. Today, I'll be discussing the profound shifts that the digital age has brought to language and literature, focusing on three key areas: production, accessibility, and interaction. As we move deeper into the 21st century, technology has transformed nearly every aspect of our lives, and language and literature are no exception. In this paper, I'll explore how digital tools and platforms have redefined how we produce, access, and engage with written content. From the advent of word processors to the rise of social media, these innovations have altered the form and function of language, creating new opportunities and challenges. I would like to discuss the shift in language production. Historically, language was produced primarily through handwritten manuscripts and printed textbooks. Writers had to rely on physical tools like pen and paper, and later typewriters, printing presses, etc. However, the digital resolution has changed all of that. Now, with the advent of word processing software and digital platforms, anyone with a computer or smartphone can produce text quickly. Writers can revise their work instantly, collaborate remotely, and even use AI tools to aid in writing. One major shift we have seen is in the rise of online platforms that everyone knows that encourage us the democratization of writing. Blogs, social media, and forum like Reddit allow for continuous production and consumptions of language. These platforms have given voice to millions of people who might never have been published in traditional media. However, this has also led to the emergence of new forms of writing like short, punchy posts that rely on brevity. Next point, I would like to explore that how the digital age has transformed access to literature. As we know that in the past, access to books and written material was limited by geographical location, cost, availability, so and so. If you wanted to read a classic novel, you would need to visit a library or bookstore. But today, with the rise of digital books, audiobooks, and online libraries, literature has become more accessible than ever before. Ebooks have revolutionized the reading experience. With just a tablet or a e-reader, readers can carry entire libraries in their pockets. Moreover, audiobooks have opened up new opportunities for those with visual impairments or those who simply prefer to listen rather than read. This accessibility has democratized literature, making it available to a global audience with internet access. In addition, I must say that self publishing has emerged as a powerful tool for authors. Why? How? Because digital platforms like Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing allow writers to bypass traditional publishing houses and distributes their work directly to the readers. So this is the really good platform for the writers and made us very comfortable to be a writer. This has led to a surge in diverse voices and genres that may not have found a place in traditional publishing. One excellent example of this shift in Project Gutenberg, which offers free access to thousands of public domain books. By digitizing this work, it has made them accessible to anyone with the internet connection, ensuring that literature is no longer confined to the wealthy or the privileged. Next, I would like to move on to the point new forms of interaction with literature. In the past, reading was a solitary activity, and engagement with a text typically involved interpreting its meaning or analyzing its structure. But today, technology has added new layers of interaction to the experience. Take hypertext, for example. Digital literature often involves nonlinear narratives that allow readers to explore different paths or make choices that affect the outcome of a story. This has been particularly evident in video games and interactive function where storytelling is often participatory. The digital has also fostered new communities around literature, like online platforms like Goodreads allow readers to review books, share recommendations, and discuss literary works with others. These digital book clubs and forums encourage deeper engagement with literature as readers share their interpretations and insights in real time. I would like to conclude. In conclusion, the digital age has introduced significant shifts in the way we produce, access, and interact with language and literature. As we have seen how digital tools have changed the way writers create content, from word processors to AI driven writing assistants. We have also observed how the internet has democratized access to literature, making books more widely available than ever before. And finally, we have seen how new forms of interaction, such as hypertext, multimedia, and online communities, are reshaping the way we experience and engage with literary works. These changes raise important questions about the future of literature. As we continue to move further into the digital era, what might the next wave of transformation look like? This would be the greater question. Could artificial intelligence write entire novels? Will virtual reality become the next frontier for interactive storytelling? This would be answered by the time itself. So only time will let us know that what would be next. Thank you for your attention. I would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Bhavika, for your wonderful paper and the thoughts that you have presented in this through this paper in this international conference. I must say that the digital has changed a lot of landscape, especially for researchers like us, because we have now access to literature very easily. But also, it is having an impact on the language, and I understand that even my daughter, she used certain abbreviations which I have no idea about what she's talking about. And then I have to really search internet what exactly she meant. So that's what, recently she was saying that moho or something she said, and what exactly this is, the FOMO, she said. And then I went and searched it. Oh, it's a fear of missing out. Then I realized that what she's saying. So this is what something the language is changing. I'm sure that as an from the literature and language, you are looking into it, how the impact of digital things are having in language and literature. Thank you very much for opening our eyes in this matter also. And I'm sure that all the people who are listening to your paper, they will have an insight to this. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhavika. Yeah, thank you. So should we move to our next presenter? I would like to call Sikandar, if you are here. Are you here? No. Do we have Manoj Koirala? Manoj? Okay, I think it's too early, even if it's in Canada, so he might not have spoken up. Then I will go to the last name that we have in this list. Pratik Khanna, are you here? I don't think we have anyone else now. No. Afsana, she had done it. Yeah. Fine. So I think this was the last paper that we had in this session, online session. And as a chair of this particular session, I would pardon. Bhavika, Bhavika, can you mute or are you communicating to us? Yeah. So I would like to thank each and everyone who took out the time to do this presentation and be a part of this international conference, which is basically organized in the middle of Nepal at a very touristic place called Saura, organized by Balkumari College. And we are very happy that you could take out your time and effort to do a presentation on this international conference from different parts of the world. I would like to first really thank Dr. Tulsi Dharel, Professor Dr. Tulsi Dharel. I'm sure that he has left because he might have, it was too early in the morning there in Canada. And I would like to thank Dr. Afsana from Bangladesh, Zitin from, I'm not sure whether now you are in your native place or you are in AIT. So thank you for your presentation. And similarly, thanks Dr. Bhavika from Gujarat that you had the presentation. Thank you each and everyone for your presentation. And I'm sure that this international conference has become more and more meaningful with your participation. Thank you once again from the organizing committee. And I'm sure that